Greetings, my saplings. Okay, so in today's video, we are going to be focusing on June 30th. The reason being, June 30th is pretty hectic. First of all, we got the Yeezy 350 V2 Butter releasing. Then we also have the black Jordan 4 Levi's releasing, and of course the white Jordan 4 Levi's. We'll be focusing on those shoes, but I am aware that there are other shoes releasing, such as the Westbrook 10 and also the International Flight Jordan 3. For these two, I'm going to say that you shouldn't really even have to worry about copying them. I don't even expect these to sell out, but just to be safe, they're on Nike sneakers if you want to hop on at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. But specifically in today's video, for the Jordan 4 Levi's and the Yeezy 350 V2, we are going to be focusing on some time management, some money management, and simply just some tips and tricks, because I understand it can get a little hectic. If you guys remember, I did this same type of video when the white Vapor Maxes were releasing, along with the Shadow Jordan 1s and the Blush 500s, because that also was a hectic day. But why don't we jump right into it? So on the 30th, we start off at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. So the first thing I'm going to want you guys to do at 3 a.m. Eastern Time is to gather as many mobile devices as possible. Borrow your mom's, borrow your sister's, borrow your wife's, whatever you could get. Get all the mobile devices you can and switch them over to long-term evolution. The reason I'm saying this is because you don't want to be on your IP address when you're on these mobile devices, because Soulbox is going to be releasing the Jordan 4 Levi's in black and the Jordan 4 Levi's in white. Now, Soulbox does a randomized queue, so you want to have as many entries as possible. Unfortunately, unlike Adidas.com, we can't use the multiple people jig here, because although different Chrome users have different cookies, Soulbox is now tracking your IP address as well, so you're going to need different devices on long-term evolution, so they have different gateways. The more devices you have basically just mean the greater your chances are to getting in, because it is a randomized queue. And on Soulbox, if you happen to get in, which is very rare, unfortunately, when it comes to limited shoes like this, when you happen to get in, obviously you just want to add to cart as fast as possible. I know sometimes it'll say there's nothing in your cart. Soulbox, there's a ton of errors, and it's really frustrating. That's what you got to do when we're facing these bots, unfortunately. Then also at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, I want you guys to have all your devices for Soulbox already set up, but at 3 a.m. Eastern Time on the dot, I am expecting BSTN to be having a first come first serve. So for this, you obviously want to have your full attention on BSTN at 3 a.m. Eastern Time on the dot. Now, right now, they don't have a product page, but if I do find the product page, because we're a decent way out from the release, I will tweet that out to you. My Twitter is KeithAdam10, just like I recently tweeted out the link for the Dover Street Market New York release for the UNC Off-Whites. And essentially, when it comes to these first come first serve releases, my biggest tip would definitely be to set up autofill, guys. You don't need an extension for autofill. Just open up Google Chrome, which you should already be using, and just go into your settings, scroll down to advanced settings, and then you'll see a section that allows you to manage your autofill. Once you go to checkout, you just start typing, it highlights everything, and you just click the highlighted thing. Another tip I would give you, it's a small tip, whenever you refresh, I want you guys to, instead of refreshing with the little thing at top, I want you to use Command R for Mac or F5 on Windows. The reason being, it will allow you to keep your mouse hovering over the size selection, and it's only going to save you about a second, but when we're competing with bots, that second really does matter. Now, also at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, this is only for my Europe people. It is very possible, although I am not expecting it, it is very possible that we will see a Nike sneakers release. I'm not sure if this is going to be a Leo, where essentially it's close to a first come first serve, and they let everyone enter within 3 to 5 minutes, and then they start selecting winners. That's when you see, of course, it says pending. Or it could also be a draw. Now, whether it's either of these two, just some quick tips, and also whoever's in the US, you want to listen up too, because it's very possible at 10 a.m. Eastern Time to see a surprise drop for these. So you want to make sure in your settings on your account, you just have your size already selected. If you were wondering, 10 and a 10.5 are always the easiest sizes to get. Then also fill in your address and make sure that box is already selected. Make sure your payment information is already filled in. I prefer using PayPal, but it's up to you if you want to use credit card. I haven't had any trouble with that as well. And also, guys, just make sure you're ready to sign in on desktop, because if you guys remember on the Travis Scott release for the Jordan 4s, the app wasn't working for some weird reason, but it was working on desktop, so I highly recommend having desktop ready just in case. Now, with 3 a.m. Eastern Time out of the way, let's move on to 4 a.m. Eastern Time. What's going to be happening then? Okay, so first of all, for everyone in Europe, shout out to you guys. We will have the Adidas Splash go live at 4 a.m. Eastern time. So for this, you just want to make sure before 4 a.m. you have all your Chrome users already set up. Just one tab for the splash on each and every Chrome user. You can have as many as possible. And just a quick pro tip for you guys, because I know some of you were asking about this when you see me live streaming it. How do you view like all your Chrome users at once without it getting too hectic? On Mac, all you have to do is click the F3 button that is at the top of the keyboard. It will allow you to view everything. And when it comes to Windows computers, all you have to do is click Tab and Windows at the same time. That will give you the same effect. Also, another pro tip, whenever you see that you get the message saying we identified a security error, you might think that the multiple people jig is patched, but believe me, it's not. You just go into your history, click View All History or whatever, click on Clear Browsing Data, set it to 24 hours, then you just refresh the splash page and you're back. Simple as that. Now, while all your Chrome users are running, you should have one tab for One Block Down. One Block Down will be releasing the Yeezy 350 V2 Butter at 4 a.m. Eastern time, and this will be through a first come first serve. So take all those tips that I just mentioned previously for BSTN and just apply them to One Block Down. It's the same process. Then also, I just felt like I should mention this to you guys, but also at 4 a.m. Eastern time for anyone who's in Europe, the Europe Foot Locker will be releasing these. And essentially, when it comes to this, you just got to keep trying and trying to add to cart. Sometimes you get lucky and you are able to get it into your cart. Once you do that, you have autofill to finish the rest off for you. But in my opinion, I would just focus on One Block Down, and then maybe after you see they're sold out there, hop on over to Foot Locker. Especially for anyone in the US, you're not going to be able to buy off of Foot Locker. So in the US, just make sure you're focused on One Block Down. I also wanted to mention that Urban Jungle will be a random time. I don't know why they're doing a random time. Maybe they're trying to copy what Yeezy Supply used to do. And just to find out when they're going to be releasing, just follow Solinks on Twitter, turn on post notifications, and they probably will tweet when they go live. But just to be safe, I would also set up a page monitor. You could download Visual Ping. There is a slight delay, but it will still be better than nothing. Now, moving on to 7 a.m. Eastern time, also for the Butter 350 V2, we have Wrong Weather releasing these, and this will also be a first come first serve, so use the tips that I've been mentioning. Moving on to 8 a.m. Eastern time, the only store, unfortunately, that I know of as of now is going to be Luisa Via Roma, and this is really annoying. For Luisa Via Roma, you have to have spent a certain amount of money to acquire 2,000 points. So if you happen to have bought stuff off of this site before and you have 2,000 points, congratulations, you can go for the shoe. But for the rest of us who don't buy off of this site, we can't even go for them. Now, moving on to 9 a.m. Eastern time. It makes me really sad that I have to say this now, but Yeezy Supply has a set time, and I'm really mad because this means it's going to be much, much harder to cop, considering there's going to be much more competition. Before, when Yeezy Supply was random, the only people who would be able to cop would be anyone who had notifications on for Yeezy Mafia on Twitter or even Solinks on Twitter. Then we would be able to cop, and everyone who didn't would just have no idea that they dropped. However, now, since it's set at 9 a.m. Eastern time, it's going to be very difficult. But again, guys, number one tip, use autofill. It's a savior. If you guys want, you can give the bypass jig a try. I'm personally not going to recommend just because I find that it is so inconsistent. But keep in mind, they didn't completely patch it because it still does occasionally work. So if you say get in line on 2 devices, maybe on one device you try the bypass jig, and if it doesn't work, then it's fine because you still are in line on the other device. Now, moving on to 10 a.m. Eastern time. All my US people, we have the adidas.com splash page releasing. Obviously, it's the same exact process that I mentioned for EU with all the same tips that I also mentioned. And also just a possibility for 10 a.m. Eastern time, like I previously mentioned, it is very possible that we'll see a Nike sneakers drop for the black and white Levi's 4s. Although I'm not really expecting it, I would have the Nike sneakers app open just in case they happen to pop up on there. And also something that I forgot to mention earlier, say it's a draw or even for Leos, since it is still a randomized process, to increase your chances, I would recommend using multiple accounts. But when it comes to this, only 3 accounts per IP address max. Otherwise, you do risk getting IP banned. And then for the rest of the accounts that you choose to use, just use different devices on long-term evolution. And also for each of those accounts that you set up, because they do have to be different accounts, make sure your email is different, your phone number has to be different. For this, you could just ask a friend to send over a verification code and you use their phone number. You could keep the same address. You don't have to change anything up, I found out. But you definitely do need different payment methods. Now, moving on to some other 10 a.m. Eastern Time releases that I would focus on. For the Yeezy Butters, we have Finish Line releasing them at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Just have the Finish Line app open and you will get a notification once they go live. And it's just like a basic first come first serve process on the app. Then we also have Kicks USA releasing the Butters through a queue. Now, just like Soulbox, they do track IP addresses, so if you want, use multiple devices all on LTE. Now, in my opinion, since you can't focus on every single store, this is about time management, I would focus on those stores mostly, but if you guys want, I do have some other stores that you could check out that I know are getting them. For instance, we have Foot Locker, Foot Action, East Bay, Champs, City Gear, Jimmy Jazz, and there's a couple of others that I don't have confirmed times for, but I'll be live streaming the drop on the 30th, so make sure you turn on post notifications and subscribe so you don't miss out on that. It'll be super fun copying together with you guys like we always do on every Yeezy release. And honestly, guys, with the multiple people jig on Adidas.com, it's a joke. It's so easy to get Yeezys. I guarantee you that you should get at least one pair, if not probably more. Moving on to money management, say you could only afford one pair of shoes. What should you do? Well, here's the thing. When it comes to the Levi's Jordan 4s, the black and the white will both resell for more than the Butters. Now, if you don't want to resell them, obviously you just go for whatever you like the best. If you wanted my opinion on resale predictions, you will be able to make more profit despite a higher retail price with the black and the white. Now, if you're wondering black or white, the white will definitely go for more than the black. The reason being is rumors are stating that the white is even more limited than the original pair. But I also want to mention, if you have enough money for everything, also it's very likely that you'll probably take an L on the Jordan 4s. You will still be able to profit off of the Yeezys, even if you have to pay that $20 Yeezy Supply shipping. But if you're really not trying to pay for any shipping at all, you want them for the cheapest possible, just stick to Adidas.com, only stick to the splash page because it's free shipping and some states don't even have tax. So that is where you would be able to make the most profit on the Yeezys. Also, make sure you subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out when I make that sell or hold video on them. But with that, that will conclude today's video. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, if you perhaps learned a thing or two. Again, subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated on all hyped shoes. With that, though, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the 30th.
Like a size 12 weapon. Get your foot off my foot. Ah.
Get your foot off my foot. Yeah.
Now I can't run and I can't walk. You hit me so hard I don't want to talk. Get your foot off my foot. Ah.
Get your foot off my foot. Yeah.
Why are you always in my way, knocking me over every single day? Get your foot off my foot. Ah.